ultimately, this was a tribute to Rob Daly. Hi, I'm Jaxon Howell. I am an artist just living life in Vancouver, British Columbia. One of the things that I do is I create custom hats. Hats are one of those things that it's a very personal item. I feel that a hat is an extension of people's personalities. So when I'm creating a hat for somebody, I am always asking, like digging into their interests and their hobbies and what they're passionate about in life. I take that and mix those details into the hat as I build it, so that when somebody gets their hat and they're wearing it and they're walking around, and people see it or their friends see it and they're just like, that hat is so you, and it literally is just like an extension of you. So this is the first hat I ever made for myself. I made this as a tribute to one of my really good friends that I lost to cancer about 5.5 years ago. His name was Rob Daly, good friend, incredible photographer, and budding filmmaker. The studio that I was in previously to this was Rob's old studio, and which is where I met him. It was back in 2006, a couple of years after I'd moved to Vancouver, and I was pursuing acting, and I needed to get some headshots done, and Rob was the best, like the best of the best in Vancouver at the time for actors' headshots. And so I booked in with him, and I remember walking up, knocking on his door, and he's like, "Oh, come on in." And he's standing at the sink wearing, I think it was like a green apron from like Starbucks or something like that. And he was just like washing dishes, and he's just like, "Oh, come on in." And I'd literally never had professional headshots done before. I don't even know if I'd had professional photos other than class photos in school done prior to this. So I was nervous, and he's just like so nonchalant, which I didn't quite understand at the time. He just like walks over, picks up his camera, doesn't take the apron off, and he's just like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's just like, the session ended, and we ended up just like sitting and chatting, and then we just like instantly became friends. I don't know, like we just clicked and got on so well. And so that was like the beginning of my experience of Rob. He was always there for hard times in my life, and he was just like there and always a light. As soon as I started making hats, the first person that I thought of to make a hat for was Rob, because he always wore hats. He was such a stylish guy. I ended up like getting on the phone with Rob and said, "Hey man," I'm like, "I started making hats. I want to make one for you." And he was just like, "Oh man, I'd love that." And so we started going through some ideas of design, and he had sent me a few like photos on Pinterest. And so I started coming up with these ideas. This was back in 2020, so height of COVID. He was in LA, I was here. So, borders being closed, I couldn't go see him. So, it was kind of doing this as like a long distance thing. He was going through his stage 4 cancer, he's going through a lot of treatments. And so I wanted to get this, done and made for him just in case. And so anyways, we decided, we picked a design and we picked a color, and I was waiting to get some tools like hat blocks, is what they're, to start the actual process of making this hat. And so a little bit of time went by, finally got them, and I started on it. And then he came up to Vancouver to do some treatment up here. And so I ended up getting to see him. And at one point I went to the hospital and I wanted him to see the colors. So I brought it just a raw felt to the hospital to show him. And then that's him wearing the raw felt. I don't know, this guy just made this thing look good. Sitting in a hospital bed fighting cancer. And anyways, he just made it look good. So he was like stoked on the color. So I went and started it. And then a couple of days later, Mel, his wife, had called me and she's like, Rob's getting out of the hospital. Come to the house. And so I was getting ready to go to the house the next day, and then she called me and she's just like, he's not doing well. So she's like, you better come over. This could actually be, this could be it. So I went to the house, I brought the hat. It was just it was shaped, but I'd done nothing with it. But I wanted him to see it, and so I went and I sat with him. He was just lying in bed. He was like very weak. He couldn't even open his eyes, and so I sat with him for a couple of hours and just talked, and he listened. And at one point, I'm like, Rob, I brought your hat, and I just took it and I laid it on his chest. Without, like I said, he couldn't even open his eyes, but he had reached out his hand, he put his hand on it, and he was just like, oh, it's beautiful. Then I got the call from Mel the next day, and she's like, Rob's transitioned. And so, obviously that was devastating to hear, and so I rushed over to the house and got to see him one last time, and then went with and helped carry him out when the coroner came to get him. And so he never actually got to see the hat finished, which was, sad for me. Obviously I was way more broken having lost my friend. I wanted to finish it. I ended up finishing it and gave it to Mel, and so they've got two little boys. So one day, either Rio or Max will get to wear it. But then when I got around to making my first hat, I couldn't think of anything better than to make something that was a tribute to him. It's funny, like when I think about Rob, and he's just like, he's still always around. Mel, probably about a week after Rob had passed, reached out to me, and she's like, I think it's time for you to return his space to what it once was. And so I took on the loft and took it right back to this minimalist but stylish studio, right down to having a similar black leather couch and an old trunk. And then I started using it as a studio for doing headshots. At one point I was shooting, before I had taken on this space, I was shooting at another studio here in town, and I remember seeing this painting up on the wall of just like a profile of a guy wearing this big, beautiful hat. And I was just so mesmerized by it. So I contacted the person that owned the studio and I'm like, hey, where did you get that painting? And he's like, oh, it's actually from a local artist here in Vancouver. When I took over Rob's studio, I just had this thought of that original painting that I saw up on the wall. And so I contacted the artist and I said, hey, I want to do a tribute to a friend of mine. Would you be able to paint a portrait of him, but in this hat? And it was the hat that I had made for him. And so now, and it's still hanging in that studio because I felt that it needed to stay there, as there's this big, beautiful painting of Rob and side profile of Rob wearing the hat that I made him. So it's kind of like he did finally get to wear it, and now he is still, it's like his spirit is still in the studio there. So yeah, anytime I go to visit that studio, it's always like going to visit Rob. And I remember one day somebody coming in for a photo session, and I had just like left the door open, and I was literally standing at the sink like cleaning a couple of glasses, and they came in and I was just like, oh, welcome. I'm like, come on in. And like literally I realized I was doing the same thing that Rob did when I met him, and then it clicked. And I'm like, he was doing it. It was almost like subconsciously doing this to make me feel at ease. And it worked so well because it was the same thing. I remember when that person had finished up, or we had finished up their session, and she was just like, I've never felt so comfortable doing a photo shoot before. She's like, usually I'm so awkward, and she's just like, you made this so comfortable for me. And I'm like, it was him.